Hello, thank you for tuning in again to our podcast. Last time we were here, we talked about some conflicts with Methodius. This time, however, we are moving ahead a couple of years and we'll talk about the Great Svätopluk and the downfall of Great Moravia. Before we start, I would just like to remind everyone that you can listen to our other episodes on our SoundCloud profile. Fortunately, this week we have some guests who were directly affected by the collapse of the empire. Now that we have the intro out of the way, could you please introduce yourselves?
Hi, my name is Julia, and I was born and raised in Nitra, and I'm very proud of where I come from. When I was a child, Nitra was still a part of Great Moravia, and I will reminisce about those days forever.
Hello, my name is Veronica, and I'm an expert in this field, and I would like to add my perspective on the events that occurred not too long ago.
Hi, my name is Moravia, and I'm Svätopluk's oldest. I'm probably the smartest son, just saying.
Okay, thank you again for being here. Now, first question is aimed towards Moimir and Veronica. I know that it is a touchy subject, but how did Svätopluk die?
Of course, for me, it is a very personal and touchy subject to talk about, and he was my father after all. But it is quite in the midst of how he left us. We don't truly know, but what I can say is that he was truly a great man and a great leader to be around and to follow.
I'm really sorry, Moimir, for your loss, but as far as I know, there
Thank
were no
you.
specific information carried here to Hungary. The whole death was a little mysterious, and no one knew any details. The only detail we knew was the date, but beside that, there was no other information about either the burial or the place of death. There was a legend that our nation came to the Great Moravia and fought a battle near the river Rakos. The legend says that Svätopluk and one of his sons died in the battle, but this legend is not based on any of the true events.
Thank you for sharing, and especially Moimir. I know this is hard for you given that it was your father, but this is the last question about Svätopluk's death, because people would really like to know what happened after his death.
Well, after my father died, me and my brothers, Svätopluk and Breslau, we kind of fought a lot, and because I was given the leadership of Moravia and to carry it on to its greatness, they kind of disagreed with what I wanted to do and going against my father's wishes, which was to remain united. And Great Moravia kind of collapsed in the midst of power struggle between me and my brothers, and it was just, it wasn't a good situation, and even the Hungarians attacking at us just put more and more to the whole thing. So, yeah.
So, is it correct to assume that only one son was to blame for the splitting of Great Moravia? Also, could someone tell me more about the rest of the sons, given that no one really talks about them?
So personally, I think that definitely all three sons were to blame. As Moimir mentioned before, he had his two brothers, Svätopluk and Breslau. And it was known even among all the villages that the three brothers argued a lot. Even though they almost worshipped their father, they couldn't come to terms with each other. And as a result, it was definitely the cause of Great Moravia breaking up. Moimir was appointed the supreme leader, and I guess the other two just couldn't deal with that. And there were so many arguments, and it did end up with the empire breaking completely.
For today's sponsor, we will be talking about Dead Be Dead, who provide handmade caskets and coffins just for you. One of the most well-known coffin companies out there in Moravia today. Not only do they provide a handmade casket, but also a well-prepared ceremony to which they would provide all the necessities for you. They not only have a wooden, but high-quality Sam Burroughs caskets in which you can bury your fellow deceased. You can get this whole package by using our discount code moraviatoday.dbd to get 10% off your first purchase. Now, back to the podcast.
Question is to Veronica. So after Svätopluk's death, did the empire last or broke down?
So, as I mentioned earlier, the empire broke into quite of a chaos because of the disagreement between his sons. This was a great opportunity for us to try Great Moravia, so so we did. Its downfall wasn't caused only by our nation, Hungary. The Moravians had a lot of issues within the state, which resulted in constant battles and rise of poverty. In this time, there were also a higher number of floods, which destroyed a lot of homes and the living Moravians.
Moimir, do you blame yourself for this?
No, I actually don't blame myself.
I think, sorry, I just have to share my opinion on this as well. I definitely do think that it was your fault because, as far as I'm aware, we were just living our happy lives under Svätopluk's rule. And then if you would have just agreed with your brothers, then I feel like we could have stayed as a happier nation.
Well, obviously, Great Moravia was very big and influential, which means the empire had a lot of enemies. Who were some of them, and were they successful in what they were trying to achieve?
Well, all the tribes under my father's rule began to get rid of Moravian supremacy by force. King Arnulf tried to conquer Great Moravia previously, but in 895 he didn't have any success. When the Bohemian Czechs broke away from Great Moravia, they became his vassal state. The Bavarians destroyed a fortress in Nitra, and then the Hungarians also threatened the land, of course.
Even though Svätopluk had a lot of enemies, he prided himself on being allied with the Franks. Did the relationship last, or was there something that broke them apart? Also, this is the last question. We have to wrap this up.
As far as we know, Svätopluk previously allied himself with the Franks to help them seize Rastislav. We also know that later, or on when the Moravians rebelled against the two Frankish governors, Svätopluk drove the Franks away.
Thank you for your time, and unfortunately, we have run out of our time, and I hope you learned a little.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yes, thank you. It was a pleasure.
Okay, bye.